Well, hi everybody. It's Marianne again. I have missed you all so much. I realized it's been since May when I talked to you about Modern Elder Academy. Yeah. Oh, and it's summer in Western North Carolina, and the mornings are cool, the afternoons are pretty hot. But that's why people come and live here, is because they want to live here because of the cooler mornings. So that's one of the things that I love about Western North Carolina, is that it's cool in the mornings. Yeah. Anyway, so I wasn't doing a weather report, was I? I don't think so. I wanted to tell you about some of my favorite books. And of course, I have lots of books. So, you know, it's easy to have lots of favorites anyway. And that is a conversation that I had. Oh, wait, I need to tell you who I am. Hi, Marianne Kilkenny here, Women for Living in Community. You can see how rusty I am about going live on Facebook. So, back to me. I was having a conversation with Debbie from Louisville, Kentucky. Hi, Debbie. And she was saying that she would really wants to live in community, and I was thinking about what's a good way that possibly she could learn more about it without jumping in with both feet, like all the things that I have done through the years. So, hey, Nat. Hi, Jenna. I want to just say shout out to the people that were here live and remind all of you that are doing on the replay, you can comment too, ask questions, say where you live. That would be even better. Okay, so moving right along, and that would be I get to do all these things all at the same time. This is like multitasking. And by the way, before I forget, telling you all about my books and actually going through all 6 of them with you. So fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a good ride. And I have a surprise at the end and a gift. I'm going to start doing this on the Facebook Lives. I'm going to start doing that. It is giving you an expert tip, and also I'm going to give you something away today. So stay tuned. There are different kinds of books for different people, and through the years there's been so many books that I have had. These are the ones that stay on my bookshelf, and I say to people, these are the ones that sort of take you from fiction, inspiration, all the way down to the real nitty-gritty. So again, alternative housing models for people as we age. I'm going to start with the one that I mentioned to Debbie, and that was this one. It is The Ladies of Covington Send Their Love. Now, if that ain't the most wonderful thing. So, and this is written by a woman here near where I live now. She wrote nine of these. This is the first one in the series. So when you just get into it, you're going to say, gee, I wish I could read more. She actually did a lot more. It's about 3 women, and they live in a house together, and about their adventures and about all the other things that they have done. Okay, so Barbara is saying she's only seeing part of me. So that's a drag. I don't know how to do that. So we're moving right along. Barbara, I apologize. We have a list of the books, so you can get these on your own as well. So let's see. Here it is. And Ladies of Covington Send Their Love. In the inside of the jacket, it says, this is when an opportunity calls, the 3 ladies surprise themselves with their spunk and set off to create a place to call home. To the horror of their children, they commit to friendship and dare to cast themselves adrift, pooling their resources and moving to the small town of Covington, North Carolina. Once there, truisms of retirement and older age are tossed aside, friendships are tested, and old family scars are identified and gradually mended when the women discover new ways of living to their fullest. One of them will find confidence, one will find love, and one will find that there's nothing nicer than growing an apple tree. So, wonderful. So, let's see. This is the book. Here it is. Moving right along. Oh, and at the end of this, there's a wonderful recipe for sugar cookies from Grace. All right, Nat, thank you for letting me know. Okay, the other thing is the next book is a hysterical book, and it's called, the title tells it all, The Last Resort, No Retirement Condominiums for Them. 12 friends chip in and buy a mansion. Now this book is no longer in print at all, but you can get it on Amazon. I have no stock in Amazon. I just think that it's a great place to find books. And it's about 12 aging friends who buy a house, clearly. And I don't know about you, but have you ever said, let's all get together, buy a house, and we'll have a cook, a nurse. I always wanted a chauffeur, but anyway. But this is a comical way of looking this by a couple who actually said the question, which is to baby boomer, is there an alternative to being packed off to a nursing home in one's final years? Yes. Whoop. So, and on the book jacket here, it has, whoop, there we go, the couple and some illustrations. And Natasha and Emmett write, after the demise of their parents, they wondered whether there might be a better way to live their final years. Sounds very familiar to things that I have done, or that I talk about ad nauseum to people about what are we going to do as we age. So that's what I want to make sure that you know about this one. And it is it's 444 pages. And that's because they elected to have 14-point Garamond. I think I'm saying that the right way. So the print's big enough for older eyes. Okay, so we've now stuck our toe in. Now we're moving into the ankle and possibly the leg of really moving towards what we're looking for as far as next experiences. I hate to make it anatomical, but it's important. So this is Aging in Community, right here, and it's edited by a friend of mine, Janice Blanchard, and it says she brings together perspectives of visionaries, practitioners, and pioneering elders who are helping forge an exciting new paradigm called Aging in Community. Here it is. And I love her quote here, and it says, "It takes a village to raise our children, then it takes a community to care for our elders." I like the care for our elders part. And in many of these, there are great table of contents. So I'm just going to go through the table of contents to give you a better idea of what's in here. In the first part is a third way. And part two is creating the physical container. And in that, it's got about shared housing. I wrote an article. Dean Peterson wrote an article about being the accidental developer. And then we move into the social structure, which is, how do we get along once we do something like this? And then there's the research and policy behind this. So again, great book. This is what it looks like. You can get it on Amazon. I don't think it's in print anymore, but I will make you a bet that there's some copies available. I have a few. So moving right along, another really, really, really great book. You will see I have lots of stickies. Hopefully I'm not going to read from all of those to you. And that is pretty much a book by a really great journalist by the name of Beth Baker. She wrote it in 2014. and she explores a whole variety of housing, and she talks to people about it as sort of a research person as opposed to somebody with feelings like me about it. So, and you will notice on the front of it, it's all women that are sitting there, and the title is "With a Little Help from Our Friends, Creating Community as We Grow Older." Who said it would all be women? So, and again, the table of contents, it's funny, they all have very similar ones. And the prologue, her title, I can't do as well as these people who are journalists, so pardon me for reading some of these things, because it really points to what's important to me, and that is the prologue's title is "The Oncoming Train." And part 1 says, "A time like no other." Part 2 is "A Wealth of Options." She talks about the village-to-village network, co-housing, cooperatives, NORCs, that's naturally occurring retirement communities, community without walls, affinity groups, house sharing. And for those of you that might not be familiar with what those terms are, because again we're moving into the real more nitty-gritty, and here she has a glossary of terms, alternative models, in the back. So this is another great place to see this. And some of the other things that she talks about are some really, what I think are some really good quotes. And this one is on her chapter on the end of denial. We would do well to contemplate the next chapter of our lives. What will our homes look like? If, like my mother, who when she began to fall or have difficulty seeing, would our homes be an impediment to our well-being? How will the fabric of our lives be woven? Are there people nearby, family, neighbors, members of our congregation who care about us, who are being willing to help us or to accept help from us? I love the word poignant, but to me that is. And my friend Dr. Bill Thomas, who I talk about, who started the Eden Alternative and the, I just forgot, the Greenhouse Project. This is a doctor who worked in nursing homes in his youth. He's probably not youth anymore, and saw what the places were like for elders. And he talks about the myth of aging in place. It harms people by defining the decision to share one's daily life with others as failure. But being a big piece of the reluctance to seek out new ways of living with others is the dread of the institutionalization. People cling to their homes a large part because they fear life in a nursing home more than they fear death. So there's all sorts of opinions about what to call what we're up to. And another time she's talking about, Beth Baker is talking about interdependence. And that is, she said that's what we should all be working towards. It seems to be having a group around us who won't give up on us, who want to hang out with us, who'll see us through thick and thin and won't be pushed aside. It's really a matter whether you find it in your hometown neighborhood or a cooperative, a new intentional community, or a shared house with friends. The secret to high quality of life as we grow old is being known and appreciated for who we are and to offer friendship to others. You beginning to see the theme I'm picking up for you? Yeah. So again, Beth Baker, with a little help from our friends. And we're zeroing in on one of my favorite books, and this is, I mean, they're all my favorites, aren't they? Creating Community Anywhere. Finding support and connection in a fragmented world. Now, these two women wrote this book in 1993 is when it was published. So it seems like our fragmentation has been going on for a while. I don't know how many of you are familiar with M. Scott Peck. He wrote A Different Drum and The Road Less Traveled, which was a sort of a mainstay when I was younger. And he wrote the foreword to this book, which says something pretty important. Also, that he also says on the front of it, the most comprehensive book I know of on the community movement. That's saying a lot. There's a lot of books about it, and have been more and more of them. That's why I say these are my favorites. And his quote is a quote that gives me cold chills, and that is in the first part of this book. The quote from M. Scott Peck is, "In and through community lies the salvation of the world." Take that in for a moment. And in their book, too, they have a table of contents that really makes it very, 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 very easy. And that is pretty much what we're talking about as far as what community is and what we need. Community is part one. Part two is community without cohabitation. You don't have to move in together to enjoy mutual support. For some people that makes you feel a lot better, I'm sure. And new ways of living together is part three. And part four is a starter kit. Coming together, making decisions, working on conflict. So in this book, gets down. We're going from fictional to this is what this is all about. This is the various things that there are. A commentary about what it is, and here in this book is really getting down to doing it. And in the introduction, in case you were curious about that, they say, in using this book to help you create community in your life and beyond, you might approach each chapter the way we suggest you approach community itself. Get a sense of what's there, notice what appeals to you and seems to be workable, and focus on that. Seems like pretty simple, doesn't it? I like simple. Your intuitive responses will prove useful guides. Then keep the book as reference and a companion as you explore different forms of community and various levels of commitment. There you go. So thank you all who have been commenting about where's my camera and how to move it. This is so fun. I get to be with you and do all these fun things at the same time. And here I am in my house. So the last one is a book that, of course, cannot be forgotten, because it moves you from, okay, these are all these ideals, what the heck now, and am I going to do about it for me? Can't be forgotten, and that is my book. And that is Your Quest for Home, a guidebook to finding your ideal community in your later lives, in your later years. So this is a workbook, and I call it a guidebook because I thought everybody would be scared if I said a workbook. But it is, it's a workbook. And some of the people actually on this call have been in a group with me and gone through it. Like this. There's lots of blank pages. And what the point of this is the continuum. We've taken it from fictional and now we're applying it to me, to you. Because otherwise, what I have noticed for myself, I can read books and read more books and talk to more people and talk and talk and talk and talk. And this last book is my book, Nancy. Yeah. Thanks, Nancy, for the shout out. Because what I found, as I said, I read books, I went to workshops, but it wasn't until I actually said, what is it that I want? When am I going to do this? Who am I going to do it with? And really got into how am I going to do this, and where's how a budget for me. That was an important thing for me too. And I wanted you to know that 4 times a year I've decided I'm going to do a Zoom class on my book, and I wanted to make sure that you knew that. The next thing, pause. Before I forget, if you just came on, Marianne Kilkenny, womenforlivingincommunity.com is my website. So if you want to see more of this, you want to follow me, yes, you know, the usual places. And I said that I was going to shout out with somebody that's an expert, and that expert is someone I talked to just this last week. His name is Patrick Roden. We've talked a lot about aging in place. Well, he has the URL, aginginplace.com. He's a nurse and a gerontologist, and he's got all sorts of great education, and he's just a delight. I talked to him on the phone because he's writing a book. And yeah, so there's somebody for you to check out. I loved his part on his website about technology. Not the Facebook everything, but the technology that's going to allow us oftentimes to live in our own homes, which would be lovely. And again, that's what a lot of people want to do it in a smart way. Okay, so drum roll. The offer I have for you is that if you DM me, meaning message me, because we're friends on Women Living in Community, this Facebook page, the first person that does that, I'm going to send a book to. The book of your choice. Now, I gave you the list of the books already in the introduction. Hopefully you all saw those. The first person to do that, then I will go back and forth, and we will get a book to you of your choice, which ought to be fun because some of them are out of print. Yes, so I'm glad you're all here. I'm so glad. I'm so excited to get started, to actually start more routinely interacting with you. It's been an interesting time, hasn't it? And as M. Scott Peck says, community is the salvation to the world. So I'm glad we're on this journey together. And if for some reason you want to give me in the comments a question, those of you that are seeing this on replay, hi, tell me where you're coming from. And if there's any of you that want me to cover a particular topic, feel free to put it in the comments, because otherwise I just go on bravely with the comments and the stuff I want to talk about. Speaking of which, next week, I realized as I was talking about community that oftentimes people don't know the definition that I'm using. It just so happens to be, I paraphrased my community definition from this book, the one that I use when I give talks. Oh yeah, I give talks. Anyway, so again, glad you're here. I'm going to be doing a webinar. I haven't really decided if it's next month or in October, and I'll keep you informed. And as I often say about community, that is connection. That's all of us connecting. Information, all this information, and actually doing something about it and taking action. Yeah, so I'm glad you're here. Look forward to seeing you next week, same time.